Hey there, seekers of tangible results.
Welcome to the No Nonsense Zone, where common sense meets the spiritual. I'm Jason.
I'm Emma, your unapologetically real spiritual guides.
We don't sugarcoat, we don't dance around the woo-woo. We just deliver the raw kick-ass truth.
Join us each episode as we dive deep into the mystical, cut through the bullshit, and show you how to manifest the tangible results that you've been craving for.
No fluff, no filters, just two mentors on a mission to elevate your mind, body and soul.
Get ready to transform your life like never before. This is Soul Aligned Results, where spirituality meets the real world. Hello everybody, this is Emma Romano and the amazing
Jason Parks.
Hi, we are Soul Aligned Results. You can find us on soulalignedresults.com and on Facebook. I think we'll probably end up being on Insta and all the things once we put all these out. This is session 3, our third podcast. It's exciting. I want to talk about, we're just sitting here going, what are we going to talk about? I want to talk about something that happened to me yesterday and happens to everybody every day. And it's triggers. When people get triggered. All right.
You may be doing it right now that we've used the T word.
Triggers. We're talking about triggers. So what we want to do is we want to talk to you about real stuff in real time. All right.
Yeah.
And we want to talk to you about stuff that goes on for us as mentors, as trainers, teachers, students, whatever. Parents, everything. And, I've got a husband, 2 kids. Jason's got a beautiful wife, 2 girls. I've got the 2 boys. We're going to be talking about our lives. We're going to be talking about triggers. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things because we're here to serve in service, in divine service, in source service. So if there's things that you like about the podcast, that's awesome, things that help you. If there's things you go, this is a load of shit, just don't worry about it. Just forget about it. Have your own discernment about what you want to take on and what you don't want to take on. This is not the gospel of the Lord, all right? It's just us having a chat and, aiming to help you out. Triggers. Something big happened to me yesterday. Now, my feeling and my reaction was so much more than what happened. This is why I know it's my shit. It's my ego, it's my pain body. Pain body is another word for ego. So for those out there, I was at my cousin Tom has this amazing, and my uncle have this amazing coffee shop. It's called Bin 3. It's in Baldwin, freaking brilliant. You'll see me there a lot. My uncle does the wine section. My cousin Tom does, by the way, Tom is a very good looking single man, just telling all the single ladies out there. Bin 3. In Baldwin. Don't tell him I said this. Don't tell my cousin I'm pimping him out, okay? Please. He'll kill me. Anyway, it was Valentine's and I'm meeting one of my best friends, Jillian, and I got her a rose. Valentine's Day for me, I don't really know much about Valentine's Day. It's just a chance where my husband and I can sit on the couch and eat dinner together, and he buys me a beautiful flower, but that happens most days, right? It's not really an important day for us. It's not something I particularly celebrate, but if I'm meeting someone, I'll always take them a single rose, or I'll just say, hey, happy Valentine's Day. It's just kind of, that's what it means to me. My mum and my aunt were at the shop. So I've gone at the back there. I've gone, oh, hi, Mummy, giving a kiss. Hi, Margie, giving a kiss. And I've gone, happy Valentine's Day. And Margie's gone, that's bullshit. Valentine's Day is bullshit. I don't believe in it. And she did this motion with her hand to flip me off. And I got so hugely triggered by it. And I walked off and I turned around and I went, you know what? You could have just fucking said thank you. And I turned around, walked back inside, sat down. Jillian was there and I am shaking. And I've gone, okay, Emma, what the hell's going on? Because your whole reaction there, my love, was nothing, was not, it's way worse than what actually happened outside. Because if there was no wound, I would have just gone, oh, well, suck it up, buttercup, you're all right.
Yeah.
Or I would have just ignored it, or probably wouldn't have noticed that she'd done it or said it if there was no wound there.
That's right.
But there was a big wound there. Right? And I'm like, didn't really want the wound, but I always say, thank you for the opportunity for me to heal something that I didn't know was there. Right? So there's a gaping big wound. I've sat down. Jillian's looked at me and she goes, wow, I'd ask you if you're all right, but obviously you're not. Right?
That's someone who's not triggered.
Exactly, right? This is great. This is why I love my community. This is where you don't want your yes people.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll give you an example. A yes person would be, for instance, oh, my aunt just said this, go, what a bitch, your aunt's mean. Oh, Emma, she's horrible. That's
Yeah.
not, you don't want that person near you.
No,
This is the
sympathy.
kind of, this is the kind of person you want. So Jillian's gone to me, I can see it's really upset you. It's okay, I've got you. Do you want to not do you want to sit here and have a cup of tea with me and go through it? Or do you think you want to do it later? Oh, I want to do it later. Because my pain body is like, just kill a bitch, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's right. That's right.
Let's go cut a bitch, right?
That's it.
And make everyone suffer. Okay. But my discernment is, Emma, you got this gaping big wound. Suck it up. Just park it for a minute. Go home, have a cry, have a rant. You'll be fine, right? So I'm like, just parked it. Had a really lovely hour and a half with Jillian. Beautiful. Got in the car and I'm sitting and I'm stewing and I know what it's from.
Yeah.
And I've gone, what I've done is I'm looking at it. Now, it's not Margie. It's not my aunt. My aunt is not the one to blame here at all. This is a beautiful opportunity for me, who's got this gaping big wound. It's like I'm walking around with a big broken arm, and everyone's got, and you know, God's going, Emma, you got a broken arm. No, I don't. Just don't look at it.
That's right.
And God's got, no, Emma, you have that you got, there's bone hanging out here. No, you just don't look at it. I've got another arm. I'm fine. Like, don't look at it. And then
Oh,
he'll
that
go,
worse.
oh yeah, exactly right. So I've got in the car, I've rung up my ride and die, Shayla, you know, and I've gone, oh, I'm pissed off. I said to her, first off, I go, have you got 20 minutes? She goes, yeah, what's going on? And I went, I'm really triggered. She goes, oh, now is this mummy or daddy issues? And I went, I think it's daddy issues. And I'll tell you the story. And I kept having this vision in my head. So my father and I have been estranged for about 12 years. And don't sit there, anyone who's go, oh, that's a shame, or, oh, why not? It's a good thing. My father is extremely toxic. And, you know, there just had to be boundaries there in my life, and especially I'm a very protective person, especially when it comes to my family. And I just couldn't let his toxicity poison my family any further.
Yeah.
So it had to be that decision of, we're done here. You know, there's only so many times you can go back like a little kicked puppy. And that's what I felt like. I felt like I was the kicked puppy. I just kept going back and back and back and back. And there's only so many times you'd be kicked. And it's a good thing that we're estranged, you know. I wish him all the best. I love him from afar, and that's it. So about a year, actually 12 years ago it was, so Ben would have been about 9 or 8, and Jack would have been maybe 9 or 10. That my boys are only 1 year and 3 weeks apart. And we went to Chadstone. It was Christmas. We're giving presents, and I bought my father a book. And he was very into footy. It was a football book. And I wrapped it up and I handed it to him. And he threw it in my chest so hard that I actually moved backwards about 6 steps. It was such a force. If you're not watching this, you need to watch this video, because as I did force, I threw my headphones out of my ears, right? So such force. So he threw this book into my chest with such force that I actually toppled back.
Yeah.
And it was such a blow to me. And I know that yesterday is connected to that, but these two things are connected to for when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Because when I was a little girl, I used to give so much love. And I grew up with a grandmother in the same house, and my grandmother was very narcissistic. So, you know, narcissistic people, when they're good, they're amazing. Like you just want to be with them all the time because they're charming and fun and delightful and beautiful people. But when they're not good, wow.
Yeah.
Like you learn very quickly how to read a room when you work and live with a narcissistic person in your household. Right? So I always had to make sure I knew how to play the game with my grandmother being a narcissist. I was very, very good at it. So I could get her from being in a low vibration, in a shame vibration, into a high vibration very quickly. I would just talk about how beautiful she was. I would talk about all the, you're so pretty today, Nonnie. Oh, look how beautiful, you're the best Nonnie in the world. Oh, you're the best grandmother. I would just pump her tires. I knew how to do it, whether I felt like it or not. But I would go into situations in the family and I want to give love, and it would be like, not now. Not now. I can't be bothered with you. Can you go away? So I was an only child, the only child in the family. I was dismissed a lot. I was put away or put in my bedroom a lot. Well, I had forgotten about this. It kind of wasn't an issue until yesterday when my aunt says, oh, Valentine's Day. I think I was blindsided because I went in there with all love and joy, and I was blindsided by the venom that she had towards me by just saying Happy Valentine's Day. And I feel it's very connected to when I was a little girl and being blindsided by people's behaviors that I couldn't judge. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the pain body, my ego, because the ego and the pain body just wants me to be protected and not hurt, right? So the ego and the pain body is great. It's like your best friend. It just doesn't want you to hurt. So it created ideas for me and created like this protective thing around me of numb out. Well, for the last 4 years, I haven't been numbing out.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling everything. So all these triggers are coming up for me now, and I'm blessed for them. I'm like, yay, thanks for the opportunity to learn. I'm not particularly grateful for the trigger exactly, but I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to learn by them.
Yeah, that's right.
Does that make sense? So this is why I want to talk about triggers and why triggers are a blessing to us, not a curse. And if you have the same trigger come up all the time, this person constantly triggers me, it's because you've got a broken arm with a bone hanging out and you're refusing to look at it.
Yeah.
Because if we heal the wound, so so Margie, my aunt, wasn't the problem. She was the salt.
Yeah.
She was the salt. I have the wound. If you put salt on, if you have a big cut on your arm, you put salt on it, what's going to happen? Ow, it stings. If you don't have a cut and you put salt on your arm, there's no cut, you just brush it off and you forget about it. So it's up to us and our responsibility to go, okay, what's the wound? And be okay to cry about it and be okay to feel angry about it. And I just want to pat myself on the back yesterday because this is where I compare myself to this is how I know I'm doing well. I get a trigger, but I don't go into blame. I go into, I'm angry. It's okay. I don't shame my anger. I don't try and go, oh, you're a coach. You shouldn't be feeling angry. No, why not? Little Emma inside me, this little girl inside me, she wants to go, why don't you just want to love me? Why don't you just want to take the love all the time? I've got so much of it. Why would you not want it? And then I'm okay to have a cry and go, now I'm sad. And it's okay because I've woken up this morning. I feel fantastic. I feel great. And I'm just very happy the way I adulted my trigger yesterday. That's all I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's like there's a lot of really interesting things in there, like really interesting. I mean, one of the big things about that, like there's a couple of things that stand out for me if I can run with it a bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So one of the things is there's an energy dynamic that happens, which we often talk about. It's the 100% rule.
Mm-hmm.
So your life's always 100% full.
Mm-hmm.
That it's full of everything in your reality. That's what it
Yeah.
is. So if you want new energy to come in, fresh energy to come in, you have to create space. And
Mm-hmm.
that is a big part of what these triggers are. They're a
Love
big
this.
part of your subconscious pushing to consciousness things that are living there, taking up all the space. And because of the vibrational pitch of those emotions that are trapped in there, it
Mm.
said they're lowering your frequency. So as soon as you try and lift your frequency, these things get pushed out. Now, what we
Mm.
usually do is we suppress them, and
Yeah.
that creates that's like it's like how do people get sick? Well, how people get sick is um, I'll go back one step, right? What happens is the soul, which is where that desire of I'm so full of love, I have it all the time. Why wouldn't you want it? That's the soul. And
Mm.
the soul really, when we encounter an injustice against the soul, the natural balanced emotional response is anger.
Mm.
That's the spirit asserts itself. And it's like you get angry, like really, really angry. And then it burns clean and it's done. And that's what you're talking about. So, you experience it over a prolonged period, like, for hours, but you get up today and you're like, bing, I feel amazing. And now all
Yeah.
this coming. That's right. That's a balanced response. Now, if you don't feel that you have the power because maybe you're a little kid, or maybe you're sick, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you're just worn down from constant shitty gaslighting or something like that, and
Mm.
yeah, and you just don't have the reserves. What you'll do is that anger will come up and you'll make it wrong, and then you'll suppress it. And when you
Yeah.
suppress it, you say, "Oh, I should be doing this. I shouldn't be, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be being angry. I should be better than that." And you start blaming, and that self-blame goes in.
Mm.
That energy becomes resentment. Yeah. And,
Well, we
and
need to do a whole podcast
Oh,
on
whole
resentment.
podcast on that one, yeah. But resentment, the short answer about resentment is that's why people get sick.
Yes.
Resentment consumes energy and fills and expands, and it affects your organs, it affects the functions,
It affects
and
everything.
absolutely everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And if you're interested in manifesting, right, here's the short answer. If your manifestations aren't turning up really quickly, that's because the layer of resentment that's in the way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's quite amazing of how hidden it will be.
yeah,
I've got the
incredible.
coolest story to tell everybody. Do you want to hear? It's Emma's
Yeah,
story
yeah, of
time,
course.
right?
Fire away, fire away.
So where were we? I was in Perth last year with Shayla. She is my ride or die. She's my right hand girl. She crews all my events with me. She's amazing. She's one of the
Incredible.
mentors that people go to that work with me. Everything. She's amazing. We're in Perth, and I'm running an event. I think I was doing relationship sovereignty, and she's on the phone. She's having a mentoring session with Jason, and she's come out. She's gone, mind blown. I got to tell you about something. I'm like, what? She goes, resentment. I went, okay, talk to me. She goes, Jason is like doing this whole thing around resentment, how to flush it through and everything. So I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And Christmas was coming up. Now, I'm very close with my mum, my uncle, my aunt, my cousins, and we always have Christmas lunch together. For the last 2 years, my uncle and my aunt have not we weren't invited to Christmas lunch the year before. And it hurt like a bitch, right? I still don't know why. It really, really hurt me. So last year, Christmas 2023, I've gone, hey, Christmas is coming up. And then I kind of thought maybe it's too much for them to have 5 people at their house, like to feed another 5 people. I said, why don't we do it at mine? And they've gone, no, we're not having Christmas with you this year. And I'm like, okay, it really hurt. So she's talking to Shayla, and Shayla's gone driving to the airport from Perth to come back home to Melbourne. And Shayla's gone, I wonder if you have resentment around your father, around my uncle. Boom, I did. Do you know what it was? He didn't walk me down the aisle for my wedding to Anthony. And I always wanted him to, but because my father was there, he said, I don't want your father to feel embarrassed. He goes, I'll do the father talk, because my uncle basically brought me up. My father left when I was 10 months old. He said, but your father should walk you down the aisle. And I resented my uncle for it. So I went through this thing, and I resolved the resentment. 12 hours later, I get a text from my uncle saying, hey, we would love to come to your place for Christmas.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I went, if that is not a tangible result, what the fuck is? And we had the most beautiful Christmas. It was so fun, so much food. We had games. It was hysterical, right? Because we're very, very loud. You can imagine, hello. Very loud, very, very fun family. And it was great. And all it was, there was this underlying resentment. That's the frequency. He doesn't have resentment for me. So we can't reach each other on this same level because I'm reaching him on a resentment energy level. He's not. So of course he doesn't want to hang out with me.
Yeah, that's it.
His energy's not even he won't even be in the same ballpark as me. Not even in the same freaking suburb as me. As soon as I let go of the resentment, I'm up in his level of how he feels about me, and then we're feeling the same thing, and bang, he goes, of course I want to come and have lunch with you.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah.
go. That's resentment, people. If you want to manifest, get rid of resentment and shame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah, go for it.
No, that's all right. It's interesting. Like those dynamics are really important to understand because um, we get like emotions. Emotions are, from an energetic point of view, like emotions are the way in which our mind interprets frequency.
Mm,
So if a frequency is at a particularly low level, then we'll experience that as a form of disempowerment. So if it's really at the bottom, so there's kind of like four levels in the emotional scale. And if you go looking for emotional scales, there's lots of them, and people will talk to you about, there's these ones for frequencies, and there's these ones that's like 37 levels of this, and it's like, look, keep it simple. There's four kinds of emotions really that you deal with. So the ones at the bottom are disempowering emotions, right? So guilt, shame, self-hatred, blame,
yeah.
anything, any powerlessness, right?
Jealousy. Yeah.
All of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The level above that are the revenge emotions.
Mm,
And these are really important, and nobody talks about them because they're just, oh, no, no, that's not good. That's not good. And it's like, oh, if you are completely overwhelmed, you need to understand revenge. It
mm,
said you don't need to act upon it, but you got to use it. And I remember a friend of mine said that he'd been very seriously depressed for a long time, and he was just sitting on his couch gaming,
mm-hmm.
and he did that for years. And this was happening before I met him, and I said to him, as he said about that, I said, "Oh, well, how did you turn it around?" And he said, "There's a point that you have to get to where you hate the couch so much you'll actually get off it."
Oh, I get it. Yes.
Yeah, and that's revenge. That's revenge. It's that you get in those moments. So, say for example, you're sitting there and you're going, "Oh, I'm in this situation. I've I've lost my job. I had this problem. There's bullying in the workplace. I had to leave, but I've left with nothing. Because I just had to run out the door. It was awful. It was toxic. I didn't know what to do. And I'm overwhelmed, and I can't. I've got to pay my rent, and I've got to buy food, and I can't do any of those things. Right? That's powerlessness.
Mm,
And then you can get into that, and you go, well, okay, but you know what? It's not fair. That's not fair. We're moving up to the top of powerlessness into revenge. It's like it's not fair. That's bullshit. That is bullshit, Emma, that you have to have the bill for
mm,
that because other people's toxic behavior. That is bullshit. It's like, yeah. And then you're going to get stirred up and you start to get angry and you're going to
mm,
start burning the resentment out, you see. And it's like, yeah, okay. So I'm going to get them. No, don't get them. That's a waste of your time. Best revenge is living a quality of life that they can't touch. That's the
Yeah.
best revenge. You're like, okay, what do I do? So get angry. What are you angry about? I'm angry that I'm sitting on this fucking couch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm angry about. Good. We can work with that. And now what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to get up and do this and this and this. And now anger has become drive. And that gets you into the third set of emotions. And that's the self-empowered emotions. And now you're taking action, you're getting stuff done, you're being constructive. And then you start to go beyond it. And that drive gets you moving forward. And when that happens, you get to the top of that, you get into appreciation. You go, you know what? If I'd stayed there another 6 months, the amount of damage that would have done in my life would have been huge.
Mm.
But because I've moved it, actually, I'm grateful that I ended up walking out into that, because you know what? I walked out into that, and now I'm looking at these new jobs. Maybe I've gone to study. Maybe I've done whatever. Said I might have decided to pack up and move to a different part of the world because I've always wanted to, and I've been holding myself back because I had a job I hated, but I felt I needed to. And then suddenly you're getting up in your gratitude,
I
and
love this.
it's a fast transition if we use those 4 steps, right?
Do you know what?
So
When you say revenge, like I was like, ew, no, not revenge. I've used revenge a lot.
yeah, because you get shit
Revenge,
done.
yeah, revenge got me out of MS. Yeah, I know
Exactly right.
I'm a goer, but revenge got me out of MS. Like
Yeah.
revenge got me out of drinking too and being fat
Yeah. All of it. It is the
because I
bridge
got sick of
between
myself.
overwhelming.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
really sick. I got really shitty with myself. I got bored with alcohol. I got bored with my lifestyle.
Exactly.
I got
Yeah.
really shit. I was like, for fuck's sake. And it was funny because I lost so much weight really quickly because I just made this decision and it just phew, came off me because I
Yeah.
was just shitty with it. And it was
Yeah.
easy. It was so easy because the decision had been made. It's like, I'm shitty with, yeah, it was like I got revenge on my fat.
Yeah. That's
You know,
right.
I
Yeah.
got revenge on the MS. Yeah.
Yeah. I love revenge. It's easy to get lost in. Like people can get consumed by it
I
and
think it's because the
they cycle.
connotation that they give it is that revenge is like it's against somebody. Like if I've got revenge
Yeah,
against you,
exactly.
I'm going to hurt you. But it's not. It's
Yeah.
actually hurting the thing that's stopping you, say, the couch or the gaming or the bag of chips or the alcohol. You're holding
Yeah,
revenge against
exactly.
that. So
Yeah.
good, or an old idea.
Yeah. It is absolutely, because that's really what it is. Is
I
that it's
love
always going to
that.
be that. And that's part of like the pain body. So like in the pain body, a lot of people don't realize that because there's kind of two aspects to it. So the first, what the pain body is this is a very short run at it, but when we think about ourselves as a person, we're not really a person, we're a collective.
Mm.
And that collective is, there's a spirit, which is a thread of the divine. There's a soul, which is an earthbound spirit. That's
Mm-hmm.
part of spirit that's been damaged in previous lifetimes, that's trying to heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important because it's the soul trying to heal itself that creates things like desire for family, um, time in nature, art, beauty, creativity, make a business, have children, have a loving relationship. That's what the soul needs to heal. And that's what it creates in your life. So the impulses of the soul are hugely important for moving into a meaningful life. You have a consciousness which allows you to logically process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have a genetic body, which is made up of DNA. And this is where the pain body comes in. Because you've got DNA records everything. And
Yep.
one of the things that's really good at recording is trauma.
Yeah.
And when you come into the world, because you've got a physical body, you have trauma of generations just running and living in yourself. And then between 0 and 7, you really just don't have, you're just an open book. So everything that's around you, you're sucking in, and that's forming more aspects. That's the paradigmal aspect of the
Mm.
pain body. And then you go through life and you get your own fresh traumas and your own fresh paradigms, and you put that together. Now, that all together is what the pain body is. Now, it is a parasite. It is not connected to source. It's coming out of the DNA of the body. So when you die, it dies
Mm-hmm.
because it's connected to the body. Now, because it's a parasite, you see, your soul and your spirit, they're being nourished from source itself. And your body, well, partially that, but also partially because it's a physical thing, it needs physical nourishment. You need
Mm,
fresh air, you need clean water, you need food, you need
mm,
sunlight, you need all those things to nourish it. But the thing about the pain body is all it needs to nourish itself is siphoning off energy from the soul. That's what it does.
mm.
So what it does is it takes all the energy that the soul's using to try and heal itself and it turns it into a fuel source for it to sustain itself. So this is the problem. This is why we call it the pain body, because what it's doing is it's not really a villain. It's often portrayed as a villain. A lot of things like I often think about like in spiritual work, you find out that Lucifer is real, but Satan isn't.
Yes.
And people get
Yes.
caught up in that. But the word
Yeah.
satanic, like Satan's about the Lord of the earth. It's the
Mm,
material. And I think often when that's being referred to, they're talking about the pain body.
mm.
That they're
Yeah.
talking about something that exists only in the physical world because it is made up from the DNA.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to it, because that pain body, you've got the soul is the angel on your shoulder, and the pain body is the devil
The
on the shoulder.
devil. Yeah.
And what it does is it just wants you to be safe.
Yeah.
Because if you're safe, it lives. And if you
Yeah, and
do
it
something
wants you so safe. It wants you so safe that it literally wants you on the couch watching Netflix with a feeding tube. That's how
exactly right,
safe. It
that's how
wants
safe
you
it has to be.
into oblivion. Like it
Yeah,
wants you numbed out. It wants you medicated. It wants you sleeping.
yeah, exactly right. And the thing about it is like the pain body's great. I love the pain body now. I used to struggle against it, and part of that was because
Yeah.
when you do a lot of spiritual practice, religious practice, they're telling you you got to fight against it, you got to beat it, you got to do this, you got to do that, and it's like actually you don't. All you got to do is not let it drive.
That's right.
As, as long as it's not driving, it's okay. It's okay if you got your drunk uncle sitting in the back of the car while you're driving. He's a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
but he's not dangerous, right?
Yeah.
But if you sit in the passenger seat and give him the keys,
He's
that's
now
dangerous.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that's where the pain body is. So I love it. I mean, you know this from the work. Like if you want to find out what is the most aligned goal for you in the moment, the easiest way to do it is to use the pain body, right? So we'll say, okay, get a picture about what you want, and you get into it and you feel that desire and energy unlocks. The soul wakes up. So there's this impulse, and it's just like, oh, I feel amazing. I feel incredible. I feel like I could do all these things. And then almost instantly, there's this stark raving terror of
Yes.
screaming of no, you can't do that. That's your pain body.
Yeah, Pain Body's like, no, you can't. You can't
Yeah,
even write a book. You don't even know English. You can't do it. No one will buy it. Like, yeah, I know.
exactly right. But I love that now because if that little shit doesn't wake up, then it means that this isn't real.
It's
It's a
true, and it's
fantasy.
not grand enough.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's a fantasy. And that fantasy could be too big or too little. Exactly right. But it will
I
wake
love
up in
this.
response,
I love
because,
this.
yeah. So that's the thing, like the triggering. We look at triggering, we think, oh, triggering is a disaster, because that's actually how the pain body thinks, which is what we don't, which is not commonly understood, right? So the consciousness, it logically deduces. It works its way through processes. 1 + 1 = 2. That's
Yeah.
how it works. But the pain body doesn't. It triggers. So you know that he's driving because he or she is driving because they are triggering, right? And if what's
Yeah.
coming out of your mouth is a triggered response, it means the pain body's got hold of the wheel. All you've got to do is recognize it, and immediately you start to move them away from the wheel, which is what
Mm.
you did. Yeah, as you started to come back, you go, right, I'm being triggered. Now I'm suddenly getting out of that problem. And that's a
Yeah,
great
I
place.
think the first thing, just a top tip for anyone, if you get a trigger, don't blame the other person. There's no blame for anything here. It's just an opportunity.
No, that's right. Blame will just keep your frequency so low.
Yeah. All right. So if I had blamed my aunt for what she had said, my pain body's still driving the bus,
Yeah, yeah,
and my arm's still broken with a bone hanging out of it.
yeah.
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 Oh, that was our third podcast.
Awesome.
They're juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I
getting
like
in
them.
there. Yeah, me too. That's so good. Guys, you will find us on our website, solarlineresults.com. You'll find us on Facebook, Solar Line Results as a group. Pop yourselves in there, invite yourselves in. We'll have all kinds of stuff in there. We'll have our podcasts in there. And we'll also show you where we have masterclasses running. Um, and we hold retreats, and we also do mentoring. We co-parent mentors. So
That's right.
um, we love it. We love this. We're here for you. We don't get paid for this. This is just our service to you. Please let us know how you feel about these. Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about or that you don't want us to talk about. Don't complain about my swearing because I'm going to still do it. And
Yeah, I swear a lot too. Yeah. You're going to hear me swear a lot too. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. We'll see you episode 4. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this around. Tell the world about it because we want to get the collective in a higher frequency so life is easier, life is more opulent, life is better, and God bless.
Thank you all.